Hello, everyone, and welcome to the WSSEA 2025 Fall Finals for the middle school. The department is Pokemon Unite here today, and as always, joined by that handsome man to my digital left. D-Lo, how are we feeling today, my friend?
Dude, it's Pokemon Unite. How can I not be excited for this? When I saw it on the schedule, I instantly snapped it up like a Sharpedo. Middle school action here, so we get to play down in the lower brackets in terms of the age barriers, but it does not mean by any means these esports athletes are not going to be bringing the heat in AOS.
And we see the Mustangs. We had a couple of their teams in the Rocket League semifinals and finals yesterday, but Mustangs here making it into this semifinal, taking on KMS as well. Now, this is a semifinal. It's still only a best of one, so incredibly crucial to come out swinging off the rip if you want to make it to that grand finals, which will be a best of three.
And it's also worth noting that the playing field, the venue we're going, is not where I'm currently situated. I'm in the weeds here. I'm at the Sky Ruins, but I actually got sent the wrong location, got stood up. We're going to be going to remote stadium instead. So it's no longer if there's a ray, there's a way. It's if there's a dose, there's I'll get back to you on the rhyme for that one. But essentially, if you can get Zapdos, you probably are going to win.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the issue we saw back when this map originally came out, but I kind of like it. It's a classic. It's a throwback, so we'll see how these students opt to navigate it here as well. You've got a couple zones to get through, that outer one being 80 points, of course, that closer one that goes zone B being 100 points, and then that last one infinite. So ready to see these two teams battled out again, a best of one, so incredibly crucial to get started. Is there any Pokemon that you're hoping to see? I know we got talking a little bit before we got going. I'm a big fan of Decidueye and some of the other ones, but anything for you?
Anything that's not Comfey. Hate Comfey. Hate Comfey with a burning passion. That is just the AF came on. It's disgusting. You are just a scarf. Like, be a player. Don't be a scarf. You know me. I like to see my mains. I'm very, very biased towards my Crustles, my Mammoths of the woolly variety. Any character with a lot of displacement is what I really enjoy. In between Xers on the Crustle or the uppies of that Ice Fang coming in from Mamoswine, those are definitely my two top picks.
Well, I'm certainly excited to get into this one. As we talked about Mason Middle School, they got I think 3 teams in total that were in this postseason run up here as well. So certainly a lot of talent littered across that school over there as well. I know Avernus is waiting in that #1 seed. They were a #1 seed yesterday in Rocket League that got upset very early. So I like to believe that all these teams are very evenly matched.
And it's really cool to see that there's even attention being showed to several different esports. Pokemon Unite, a bit less typical when it comes to our school leagues. I don't get to see this every day. Oftentimes, it's people more like yours than I's age, Hot Sauce. So it's nice to see that the kiddos are kind of getting into the MOBA field a bit more early, something that has a bit less barrier to entry. But speaking of something that needs no barrier for entry because it's just good enough for everyone, I want to give a huge shout out to Zotac Gaming for powering today's stream. Thanks to their incredible support, we're able to bring this broadcast to all of y'all's, helping to showcase the amazing talent in Scholastic esports. You can show your appreciation for Zotac Gaming by giving them a shout out on social media. Make sure to join their community Discord, and don't you dare get to use that hashtag powered by Zotac or hashtag ZotacUSA when you post.
Perfect time to get out there and make a post. Let us know who you think is going to win this semifinal and punch their ticket into the grand final. Of course, we talked about it. Avernus and 2 Hilltop Heritage schools, actually, #1 and #4 seed, going to be going head-to-head in that matchup above us that will be played off-screen. This one's going to get a little bit interesting, though. There's a lot of different Mason numbers. I recognize Mason 110 from yesterday in Rocket League. Not sure if it's the same one or not, though.
Let me tell you, the funding for the copy machines in these 2 middle schools must be amazing because those avatars look the exact same. Everyone looks the exact same. You go to this school and everyone is just an exact duplicate of each other. But the picks is where we're going to start to see the variety flood on in. It's not a ban system, which means the entire field's up and open, and I'm grateful to see, Hot Sauce. These are all the characters that I'm actually quite familiar with. Nothing too crazy being thrown in just yet.
Yeah, I mean, and we get some classics in there, you know, your Charizard, your Pikachu, so I'm certainly excited for that. Gengar, another one that I enjoy watching. I haven't quite mastered him myself, but, you know, it's always fun watching a talented player kind of use Gengar, so excited for that.
What I'm noticing is a very heavy all-rounder team here. To the top side, you see 3 being born. One of them is going to be that Mewtwo X, a bit more brawly, a bit less long range. The Gengar does add a bit of variety, as it does seem that we have at least one speedster joining the battle. A lack of defenders is a bit atypical to me, but I'm not sure where the meta's ebbed and flowed since I've last gotten my teeth sunk into a game of Pokemon Unite. We'll have to see how well it works out. What that does mean is that late game for our friends on Mason might be a bit troublesome. A Buzzwole's got a lot of early game pressure. It's going to be jamming. It's going to be slamming. Alongside this Pikachu, there could be trouble for Mason if they don't survive to the lane.
I mean, just doing what they need to do at the moment, pressuring out the lane, trying to eliminate some of these creeps as quickly as possible here as well. And we see a bit of a late start. If you look in the mini-map here for Mason, a couple of these players still stuck in towards spawn, so not sure exactly what's happened here, if maybe there was an issue with a disconnect in the controller, but regardless, hopefully they're able to find their way out, because unfortunately for them, KMS is going to be taking full advantage. They're kind of shifting forward, stealing some of their camps away already.
Yeah, the neutral farm is going to certainly be lost. This Ralts does not have much capability to easily farm on up, and you really need that farm. You can see they don't want to go for the Audino just because they know that it's not going to be easy to contest. So easily scooped up there by Klahoya. You have the Vulpix and the Mewtwo out of the count, still locked away at the Pokemon Center, and CB Dash is eating some flames for their troubles.
Not even moving here at the moment either, and I'm just wondering if maybe they are having some connectivity issues here. So hopefully we can get that sorted out here as quickly as possible. But goals already coming in, picks as well, and still 3 of these members stuck in toward the spawn side.
Haunter already being an Evo up is quite rough. I'm not going to lie to you. We're going to have to see if we get a recreate, and I do believe indeed we're getting the call for a recreation of the lobby. So all of this has been a fluff and filler. Get some warm-up dunks on in. Klahoya at the very least can feel good about getting some points on the board, even if it doesn't really mean too much in the grand scheme.
Yeah, and we knew something had to be up, right? Just everybody kind of stuck in spawn there. So it's good to know that that's something we can get sorted out here relatively quickly, get everybody loaded back in and ready to go one more time. Mason Middle School, hopefully not stuck in the spawn here for the next one, but I mean, KMS, you mentioned it. They showed great pressure out early. Obviously, there wasn't much resistance, but it seems like they have a game plan. They're looking to kind of cheat forward, steal some of these creeps or camps. And so, I think it's important to come in with a game plan. How well you execute it, though, that's, up to you.
And you know what it also shows they have, their hot sauce? A killer mentality. They saw literally a defenseless little Ralts in a little dress, bangs covering their eyes. They couldn't even see in front of them. And you know what they did? They murdered her. They absolutely eviscerated her. Klahoya are not here to play. They want to take that grand final slot, and they want to win it all.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's only a best of one, so there really is no room for error here. So you got to come out swinging early. We did see that from KMS. Obviously, Mason, we'll get that sorted out here, but I expect the same from them once we get rolling. Like we said, they've got 3 teams in this. I imagine these are players that often scrim each other as well. So probably very comfortable in a game like Pokemon Unite. Again, their Rocket League teams did very, very well yesterday, so it's great to see such young talent coming in through here in the middle school. Excuse me.
I'm curious to see. I'm thinking back to the team compositions because I imagine it's gonna have to remain the same. That likely makes the most sense. That Gardevoir doesn't have, in my opinion, a lot of CC to set up her big damage. If he goes to the future sight path, which unlocks a little pool that takes a long time to detonate, you're really oftentimes relying on your defenders, who are CC machines, to output enough to keep them in place for the big damage to hit. If that's indeed the path they go, even if they don't, there's just not a lot of lockdown I see. The all-rounders can provide a little bit of it. Pikachu, actually, going back to the other side of the map, can also give a good amount of dividends. But I'm just curious, how does this composition benefit us, and also how does it kind of bite us in the butt? You still got to make sure that you're being cohesive, even if you don't necessarily have all the typical well-rounded tools for an entire composition.
And honestly, I think that's one thing I love about kind of the scholastic scene, especially in the middle school, is because I feel like a lot of the meta comps, or whatever you want to call it, kind of go out the window here. And it is, who do you enjoy playing? What Pokemon do we like the most? And so you don't always see those typical comps that maybe work very well together, but certainly these youngins do make it work. And again, we always talk about it, right? That bare minimum requirement is just to go out there and have fun. So if it's a Pokemon you're comfortable with, I think that's why we see them, kind of maybe going that route there.
Comfortable, as long as that comfortable is not comfy. That's the only exception I'll make there. I don't care if it's in the word. I don't want to see you guys get comfy with comfy, all right? Be better. Be better than the rest of the ranked sloggers online. But you can see, once again, Mason, and Mason join up against KSS, and Joe. Good to see you there, buddy. I'm glad we got someone in there to break up the monotony as we head back into the game, and the picks likely going to be the same. Indeed, they shall.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's only fair. You don't want to see them really switching up compositions once the
Yeah.
game has started. You're kind of looking into counter picking and things like that. So it's certainly the sportsmanship that we love to see. I think is the word I was searching for there. But nonetheless, we are now finally ready. Just 10 seconds on the timer before we put 10 minutes on the clock. Mason Middle School about to take on KMS here in our first semifinal.
Okay, so now looking at, I didn't really get to take a look at who that jungle's going to be. There's no speedster to make it obvious. Obviously, Gengar is going to be playing that jungle on the side here of Kloya, but we're not sure who it's going to be on the other side. You have several options. It could be the Mewtwo X. That's probably what I imagine. Just give a lot of free farm there to the former EX Pokemon, but now just reduced only to the one letter. What I'm also noticing is a bunch of potions being popped on one side. No item there for the Charizard is going to cost them in the long run, whereas for that Gengar, you have an X attack to buff up that damage.
We'll see if they can get out of the spawn here early. We had some issues last time, and hopefully they can get it figured out here because KMS is wasting no time. They're comfortable. They're already pressuring out. They're finding this early levels here, this early experience as well. And so I'm not exactly sure what kind of issues Mason is currently experiencing.
They've been paralyzed. Someone used Mean Look, and they cannot leave. They got Shadow Tag. Wobbuffet's in the game, apparently. And just we're all frozen at the spot. Charizard takes some steps out from the base to adventure in the Brave New World. Ralts as well. But there surely must be something wrong, indicated by CB Dash is dashing in circles.
Yeah, you just wonder if maybe there's an issue with the connectivity of the controllers here. So, because it does appear to be the same three that had issues in that previous map as well. So we do apologize for the technical difficulties. It is that technology, that love-hate relationship that we often have to go through. But I can assure you we have a phenomenal team behind the scenes. So we will work diligently to get that ironed out for everybody here.
I'm like, what stellar groundbreaking analysis can I give about the 1.5 minutes of gameplay we saw there? Well, it is the Gengar in the jungle. The issue is I still don't know the roles. I still have no idea what the roles are for Chloe's enemy, for Mason. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to find out. It really does lead. Let me tell you, though, the suspense has got me at the edge of my seat. I cannot wait to see when the Mewtwo player is actually allowed to move.
Yeah, I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm ready to see these two schools clash, but we'll get it all worked out. I was kind of wondering the same thing. I mean, are they going to take Mewtwo there, Ninetales? I mean, they've got a few different options, especially at this level, the Scholastic level. There's really no, I think, kind of set tone for that.
No.
So hopefully they've been able to iron that out as well, because like we said, it seems like KMS certainly has that game plan, and Mason might as well. We just haven't really seen them be able to get out of spawn so that we could get a little bit of an idea of what that might be.
You too can be an esports athlete in just one easy step: walk out of base. And we're struggling with that one a little bit, but you know what? Like you said, as long as you're having fun in doing it, well, are you having fun if you keep disconnected from the game? We'll find out shortly as we wait to hop right back in. We do have CB Dash back in. Hopefully, CB stands for Connection Better.
Connection Better. We're all hoping here a little bit, D'Lo. Looking fresh for that new cut. We love to see it. Yeah, Joel, KSE Esports 5341. We know they're ready. We've seen them explode out of the spawn there, and so now it's going to be Mason's turn to see what they can do as well. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing who the jungle is as well. I know you mentioned it, but kind of a very important role here. You've got to really to know those rotations, team communication as to whether you're heading toward that bottom or top lane, all while trying to keep up with those spawn timers of those creeps throughout the map.
And that's the thing, Hot. This is Remote Stadium. I've got to be completely transparent that I have not played on this map in so long that I don't remember the spawns. Normally it's Altarias at 2 minutes. That becomes very important for the jungle to oftentimes meet at top lane to assist in securing those, and that becomes a really big skirmish. In Remote Stadium, I'm not sure if it's the same. So I'm curious what the rotations are. I'm curious if they obey the rotations, because like you said, the rules do kind of get thrown out the window a little bit, and technical skill at an individual level becomes way more important. But if you can even manage a little bit of cohesiveness, communicating with your team to say, hey, I'm coming to gank top or I'm coming to gank bottom, that matters in monumental ways. Going back to the jungle pick, though, at least with what they should be doing, it should be either Ledge or Mewtwo. If you're talking about what they could do to be a bit fun with it, Alola Ninetales certainly would be silly, but the issue, of course, is that once that CC comes out from the Blizzard, they are a sitting duck, and they're not going to have that ability available for quite some time. So I'd like to see the Vulpix stick to top. Will they even be able to stick to a lane at all? Can they get out of base? We'll find out right now.
We'll see. Most of those, yeah, we did it. We did it. Most of those normal Pokemon are on a 1 minute respawn timer. Your Combi, your Vespiquen come in at 7:25:50. They have various timers. Your buffed Pokemon, your Boufflant, and them, I believe, spawn at just 15 seconds after and are also on a 1 minute respawn timer. Now, those big ones up top and down below, Rotom, Dreadnought, those are going to come in around the 7 minute mark, and they are also on that 2 minute respawn time.
Okay, so it is indeed the Charcadet, the Ledge, that's going to be for Mason's jungle. That's a good matchup. It's going to scale a bit better than the Gengar. But yeah, of course, once you're in that Haunter stage, you'll probably reach that a bit quicker, and the Charcadet reaches their Evo. So there's going to be a midpoint where you got to be careful. This Buzzwole, now that's what I'm looking towards as well. Already can dish out so much damage with those punches alone, and not to mention the abilities. Pikachu grabs the first blood.
Yeah, Buzzwole I'm not as familiar with. I have played against a few times, and that is the one thing I'm always complaining about. So strong, so early. You don't want to go toe-to-toe and throw bows with that player there. We see the early pick come in, and now Mason, though, pressuring them off a little bit. The first goal comes in from Pikachu up top, though. It's going to be KMS to find the first 19. Ninetales. Oh, that could spell trouble.
Ledge did manage to grab a goal in bot as well, so it might just be a tale of bot versus top pressure. Ledge being able to Evo early is monumental because it makes sure the Charmander can't get theirs off. Now on a 2 KO streak. Starter Pokemon? No. Ending life Pokemon. Ledge makes sure you never reach that second stage.
Well, we see Buzzwole and them maybe looking to score some more up there. Going back to collect some more points as we see kind of making their way back out. Charizard and crew down below, but look at all of this pressure from Mason. Despite being down by a mere 6 points, they have so much pressure in this bottom lane.
It's just because Ledge evolves earlier, and that really just matters so much. You're a baby Pokemon, and they're a fully grown, double-bladed Nightman. It's really scary to deal with. Whereas Buzzwole and Pikachu in the top lane, they also don't have to worry about Evos. So it's just really same story here. It's going to come down to who's able to spill more pressure, top or bottom. So far, it's all been a story of Mason MS. This Ledge is hard carrying.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that few point deficit now turned into a bit of a mountain for KMS on the other side of things. Mason up to 66, CB continuing to pad on the XP here as well, but we see KMS beginning to group together a little bit and maybe looking for some of these bigger team fights to capitalize on.
Well, you know what's the rough thing is that you gave that attention if you're the Haunter to the top lane that already kind of operates well in the early, and now your Froakie and your Charmeleon are starving, but maybe they're going to eat a bit better right now. Haunter comes with a Dream Eater, does have all that CC and status conditioning from the Pikachu to ensure they can keep the combo going, but a good dash gets them back out to safety. Haunter can't find it, they're dead too.
Pahoya grouping up. I mean, they find a couple picks. Initially, it looked like they were doing some damage, but it goes the other way. And it's, Ledge here, who's, you said it earlier, the hard carry, finds a 3 KO streak now as well. We're past that 7 minute mark. So Rotom, Dreadnought have both come up onto the map as well. And so I've got my eye on which of these two teams can find those big picks.
Got my eye on this top lane once again. Mewtwo sticking a bit past their welcome. Ninetales tries to bail them out, but instead finds themselves on the wrong end of that Froakie's Water Shurikens. Gardevoir makes a top lane rotation to try to assuage from the pressure, but that might open up a chance for this Dreadnought. Maybe this is how Pahoya gets back in the game.
Well, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take it solo or not, especially with all these Mason members lurking about. But Greninja able to find up a pick here as well. And so now trying to battle back. We see 2 members from Mason on respawn. Ledge, though, 3 levels on Pikachu. Has no problem chasing him down for that one as Charizard finds Ninetales and a bit of back and forth. Nobody's paid attention to Buzzwole down here, who has just finished off that Dreadnought.
It gives you a shield, but unfortunately, Ledge is going to cut it apart like rice paper. Charizard gets cut down once more. If you drop this Ledge, it's a massive bounty in your pocket, but unfortunately, this Ledge is trying to fly swat down the Buzzwole. Does so with success. An easy ultimate, finds the kill. Now Gengar, though, going to try to use that Dream Eater to find the combo. Can't quite find the knockout. Now they're going to be sent back to the PC in just a moment.
And that's tough. I mean, Gengar definitely puts out a lot of damage, but we saw KMS kind of stagger in a bit there. And so it was often, 2v1, 3v1 at 3 different fights, and Mason able to capitalize. Big picks, big lead here is, wow, a fight up top, though. They're duking it out back and forth. KMS finding some big ones, and they'll slam dunk a 2 KO streak and take the lead with that move.
That's all because of that Rotom, man. The objective game is being played very well by La Jolla. This Ceruledge cannot be everywhere all at once. It has a 50 burger in pocket, but what does that matter if you can't find the right place to use it? The fact that they burst apart this bottom goal zone so quickly means the Ceruledge really should be rotated to the top where they have easily available goals. Instead, they're sticking around bot waiting for a respawn of the objective. At the very least, they still maintain their lead by a little bit for Mason.
But they got the numbers here. Greninja will find Ninetales up top as this battle goes on. Greninja a 2K here as well. Charizard finds one, and Mason, after a ton of early success, finds themselves in a bit of trouble. And maybe a bit of a mishap there as well. Had the kill, had an opportunity to get to safety, but steps back in the fire pool, and unfortunately does fall to the wayside.
And that's really rough, man. 24 seconds without your hard carry. They're level 12, and now you give so much of a chance for Koya to catch up. And this Charmeleon on the side of Mason, they need to spread their wings and fly. Literally, they're still in that second stage, and Gengar is going to take all the advantage to grab the Ninetales. Here comes the Thunderstorm as well. I don't think Mewtwo brought an umbrella. It's going to be a heavy precipitation of damage incoming, and the Buzzwole takes the 2 KO streak.
Well, here comes Ceruledge back in battle, but there are so many here. You find the consolation prize on the way out, but really more damage done here. They find the pick. You're without the carry again. And for Mason, we need them to kind of take a deep breath and regroup here. They're staggering in 1-2 at a time, and it's allowing Kaloya back into this one.
Yeah, the seismic smackdown from these Charizards always followed by so much damage. And finally, speaking of, a Charizard now on the side of Mason, but the Water Stricken instant comes through, dodges it with that seismic smackdown, but had no follow-up. You needed someone to back you up. Gardevoir provides a bit of firing power, takes down the Pikachu. Dreadnought, heavy contestation, dropped down to a quarter, but who gets it? Greninja with the kill first, the objective after.
These big objectives have gone in favor of KMS here, and it has been the turning point for them in this one. Reminder for everyone, and this one is only a best of one. You can see right there on screen, it is KMS that is in the lead at the moment here, and only about 250 left in this one.
They did drop the Rotom in the top goal zone, but they didn't have enough points to really add much. Look at that, 3 in pocket. You're really going to risk your life for that one. At this point, the odds are even, but the Ceruledge dashes back in. They have no care with Wanton abandoned. They might just lose their life for it. Good Volt Tackle keeps them in place. The Electro Ball as well. The Smackdown just barely misses.
How in the heck did they get out? The chase is still on as we do see Ceruledge getting back, not opting to go for a full here, though, and kind of flirting with disaster a bit, but we do see some picks coming in here from Mason. Gengar will find a trade back. Ninetales on the hunt here as well, but pays the attention or draws the attention toward the normal Pokemon there as well, so Gengar able to get out of dodge.
And this is where it's unfortunate that Charizard does not have a potion, because that long sustainability that you need from Mason is just not available. Now Gardevoir's got to eat the bullets for you, or the balls rather, of the Electro variety. Speaking of, Zapdos joins the battle. Pikachu's quickly taken out of it, eviscerated by the Ceruledge.
Well, Zapdos will appear here in the wild. 2 minutes left remaining. We see Mason trying to take early advantage of it. And you look at KMS, they have 4 players down right now. This is an opportunity for Mason to turn it around. The 100 slams down. They go to 332. Zapdos is theirs as well, and Mason may have just won it here.
That has got to be it, man. So unfortunate for the Greninja to not reach in time, not recognizing the threat, but now we might see it throw in the opposite direction. Gardevoir just got taken out. Mewtwo as well. They need to preserve their lives. There's no reason to force the issue when you have a lead like this, but La Jolla need to act fast. Time's running out.
Well, we see Charizard sneaking up top for an additional 80. That's certainly going to help a lot, but you're right. There's still some early zones here left, and if KMS can capitalize on this, we might see that giant lead get drastically cut down here.
Here comes the big smackdown. Top ropes, Mewtwo goes down. Buzzwole will be the trade, and there's just no way they can shoot through that shield. Here comes the big bang coming out from that Gardevoir, and instantly sends Charizard back to base. Ceruledge doesn't have 2 blades, they got 2 mops, and they're cleaning up the rest of this fight. La Jolla, unfortunately, are not going to be able to make it.
What a nail biter. You talk about back and forth. We saw it was KMS with a good early start. Mason kind of getting a commanding lead. And then with some of those objectives, La Jolla was able to battle back. But right around the time they get Zapdos, Ninetales pounding down 100 as well. And that really turned the tide. 15 on the clock. Mason Middle School, the Mustangs, are looking like they're going to punch their ticket into the grand finals.
Oh god, they're gonna punch this Pikachu's face inside out as well, just for a bit of added panache. Snow Globe comes in from the Ninetales, hot and cold, a song of ice and fire, but at the end of the day, Mason are the ones that were singing on key. La Jolla unfortunately dropped out.
Man, I was kind of surprised by that. I really thought it could go either way, and then we saw La Jolla, excuse me, really make some good progress off the back of those objectives there, and so they begin to pick up that lead. And it seemed like, yeah, Surlage was kind of carrying, but they had a lot of issues elsewhere. And then all of a sudden we talked about it before, Zapdos can literally change the tide, even if you're drastically down in this game. So really solidifying that win with that final objective.
I mean, this is where it just would, in theory, have been useful to have a bit more covering fire, and that comes oftentimes in the form of a defender. That way you don't necessarily need to have a bunch of all-rounders. You could maybe replace that Swole with instead a Crustle. Replace it instead with a Slowbro. Who knows? But the unfortunate part was that even with the all-rounder CC you had, you weren't really able to see it. The Leech Life was really important to come in from the Buzzwole. The big hug where they start to sap away the life and also hold someone in place. But the fights just get a bit too... Pardon me. I'm choking. But no one choked there on the side of Mason. They made sure to keep it down solid till the end. And at the end of the day, it really was keeping a cool head, and that Ninetales play at the bottom. Dropping in that 100 bucket was so crucial. It allowed them to completely swing things in their favor. Complete panic for La Jolla, complete domination for Mason. We're maybe going to see it again, as well as we have a finals game coming at us soon.
Yeah, I mean, great recognition, I think, from Mason Middle School there to find their way back into it, to kind of realize that there were 4 down for the team of KMS, and so it made it taking that Zapdos much easier. But I'm excited for it because now it gets a little bit more interesting. It's that best of 3, right? We saw Avernus, that #1 seed for Hilltop Heritage, punch their way into the grand finals as well. So a best of 3 between these two schools, I absolutely love it, because a best of 1, yeah, it's fun, but it's just not quite enough for me.
With all the lobby resets, I'll count that as a best of 3. I feel like it was a best of 3. It just only required 1 to actually work. And you know, that is kind of an interesting point of it. The fact that you had Adams with all their resets, they were like, oh, I just want to play the game. And the moment they did, they were locked in, buddy. It was crazy. But speaking of that final series, we have to wait a little bit longer for it. Stick around after the break. Pokemon Unite's thrilling conclusion here on WSSEA.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the grand finals for WSSEA 2025 Fall Middle School Pokemon Unite action. This time, a best of three. Our number 2 seed, we just saw on screen, the Mason Middle School Mustangs, their number 2 team that was in it, versus Avernus Hilltop Heritage, the number 1 seed. These two Titans about to clash in a best of 3. D-Lo, are we ready for all this action?
Of course we are, and hopefully we're ready and our routers are ready as well, because we want to really just get right into the thick of the action here. It's certainly going to be good. And wow, look at that. Actually different character models. We are being spoiled here in the grand finals.
Hey, you know, we got to step it up for the grand finals, baby, all the way to the top. Remote Stadium, still the map that will be on here as well. And so, you know, anything can happen. We talked about it earlier. Regardless of how good or bad it looks in those early rounds, Zapdos is something that can really turn the tides and overcome even a couple 100-point difference if you're able to utilize it. So it's something to kind of consider. I mean, even if you're in that lead, if you take it, you don't necessarily have to pressure down and put yourself kind of at risk.
I still haven't thought of a catchy jingle yet for the Zapdos, but gosh darn it, by the end of this series, you guys get back to me, and I'll hopefully have something between games. I'll really be thinking about that in my notes. In the meantime, though, let's talk about the game strategy here. The fact that there's no bans and the fact that we haven't gotten to see these two teams clash yet leads me to believe that there's really not a reason to not just kind of play your own game plan again. If you are Adamson, and see how it works. If it doesn't, then all right, we'll adjust. But if you're Mason here, I just say pick the same things. And it seems that they might be obliging, though there is a potential shift where no, the Pikachu's not going to be it. I'm choking. Why is this happening every time? I was about to say Charizard makes a return. It does seem we're having the same roster come back here for Mason at the very least.
Yeah, it looks virtually the same here, but on the other side of things, a lot of new Pokemon coming out, I think, other than Buzzwole, who we saw a little bit earlier. But so I'm excited for this. A little bit of a change up here as well. It seems like Hilltop Heritage's comp is a little more versatile, a little something along the lines that you would actually see a little bit more in like a competitive scene.
Yes, they're lacking one thing, which is range. I wonder if this is the Beamosaur. If they decide to go that Solar Beam, then you do have a bit more of a sniper-esque kind of attacker there. Whereas, yeah, I guess the Miraidon can also fill that role. I love Trevenant. Trevenant, what a great guy that tree is. Also, Charizard still not rocking an item. That's still rough. There is one variety, like you mentioned, it is mostly the same thing for Mason, except they don't have the Ninetales. Now it's a Greninja. That's good in some aspect. Greninja's more mobile. Bad in the fact that you have even less CC to your team that already was lacking at in a decent amount.
Oh, off rip and no problems getting out of spawn this time for Mason. They are ready. Hilltop will look to explode out here as well. And again, it's just about getting this early XP as quickly as possible and giving yourself an opportunity to kind of pressure into your opponent's camps.
I've got to be honest. I have no idea what this little penguin's going to be capable of, but I've seen the movie Happy Feet, so I'm pretty well informed at the very least with that base knowledge of mine. But that does seem to be their jungle. Charcadet going to be the same exact story. And just like we saw before, this is going to evolve very quick compared to a Piplup 3-stage Pokemon, which means you have to leverage that pressure early, just like you're seeing being leveraged here in the top lane against the Mewtwo.
Yeah, we see early pressure here already and some big damage, but we see Mewtwo just kind of hanging out in that goal zone, getting those free heals as well and making that job a little bit tougher. But there comes one KO from Buzzwole, throwing fists and dropping bows. They continue to find picks, and Mason has to be careful. Hilltop Heritage looking to put some early points on the board.
Luckily, I have Ceruledge there to mow the grass, at the very least, the grass-type Pokemon in this case. And that's the issue with having 2 3-stage Evos in bot lane. Buzzwole being paired with the rest of this Bulbasaur makes a lot more sense. That being said, stepping up to that Ceruledge, a bit less sense. Gets the Ralts kill, and then also gets one Evo up top here for our friend the Piplup. That being said, Piplup still could be in trouble. No, barely escapes with their life and takes down the Ceruledge, only for the Frogadier to instantly finish them off.
Yeah, probably should have thought about going back for a little bit of a heal, but it doesn't come into play this time. Honestly, though, it's nice to see them getting some early picks on this Ceruledge. That was somebody that we saw really carry in that previous game. So I think they want to really limit the ability here and make sure that they don't become that early powerhouse like they did in that previous series.
Okay, I saw Giga Drain being used here. So this is going to be such an annoying sustain-based team. Ivysaur can just continue to harass and harangue at the tip of that goal zone. Finally, they get taken out, but not without some significant wear and tear being suffered here. Both speedsters, or rather both jungles, are even at level. And this Trevenant's going to have that Wood Hammer. So much CC. I'm sure they get the Horn Leech as well. So much sustain. Unfortunately, not quite enough for the pain this Mewtwo's dishing out. They find the KO.
A ton of damage being dished out here as well. We see Mewtwo on the run. Charizard, or Charmander rather, will step up to maybe looking to apply some help here. But Terraluch is playing around the goal zone, making sure that they don't find any points here. I mean, you look in that goal zone, 80 of 80 still. So doing a good job, but now in some trouble. Still finds a double. What is going on, D-Lo?
Okay, finally the last auto finishes the job, and actually because of how much momentum that Cerulege built up, the bounty grants them that third stage Evo. So a bit of a favor being done here to the Venusaur. So no beam, that means it's going to be close range, up close and personal. It's up to the Miraidon to be like kind of the mage-like character, and right now, mage doesn't do well against monks, and Mewtwo's sending fists of flying.
Big hammer slams down, but it's not enough on the back pedal. Trevenant will go down here, and 7-minute mark does come past us, so going to be looking to see who can get some of these bigger objectives. That Rotom up top, of course, the Dreadnought down below here as well. There's a lot of pressure coming in from Hilltop here in this lower lane.
They're really trying to build up. They have a 30 burger in pocket, and the rest of the team just barely in the same spot. They want to do something with it, which is take down the Cerulege. Great way to start things off. Froggy is going to follow. You need it to be a Greninja soon rather than later. Charmeleon, these second stage starter Pokemons are starting to show that wear and tear. Kirlia, though, able to tip-tap-toe on their corpses, finds the 2 KO streak. You're not getting any goals this time.
Yeah, and here comes help as well. They better get out of there quickly, and they're not going to be able to make it out. The rest of the crew of Mason will chase them down, find the pick, and now looking to slam on some points. Able to squeeze it in. Buzzwole does deny one here, but it is 20 points extra on the board for Mason.
Here comes the Unite move in there from the Empoleon. Dashes into danger. Won't quite find what they want. That's a future sight right there. That's, again, a very committal move in terms of forcing someone to eat all of that damage and take all the time for it to explode. Rotom being pulled here, but that Horn Leech going to force Mewtwo tensions onto the defender instead. Drop down a bit less than a third as Cerulege finally slices apart that bug. Takes down Miraidon as well. The Wood Hammer doesn't find the secure, but they're still able to get it going for the side of Hilltop. And also, Wood Hammer down that Charmeleon. Type advantages be darned.
Yeah, I mean, somehow Trevenant by himself up there steals the objective away, finds the 2 kills. Of course, for that second one, we saw the help come in, but what a play alone up there. And when you can have a player like this kind of lock down a lane, it allows for some of these easier rotations for Hilltop. We see them continuously having 3 pressuring this lower lane, which is what you need against that juggernaut that has been Cerulege. So they finally take him out. They find some big points, and look at that, almost 200 now to just the 36 of Mason Middle School.
I mean, that's the strategy that they've been trying to employ for Mason, is just feed the bot. But what happens when the bot even starts to drop? Well, you push back even harder. Empoleon oversteps, goes down to the alternate ending of Happy Feet, where the Penguin just dies. Roll credits. No second movie, no sequel. Buzzwole, in a sequel attempt of can this bug solo the objective, decides to not even wait to finish the movie. Instead decides to try to chase the Cerulege.
Well, and chase down they just might. It looks like Buzzwole will take him. Just, again, I love this character. The fisticuffs to just in-your-face kind of nitty-gritty, throwing those punches, dropping the bows. It's so much fun to watch, and Hilltop doing it very well. Charizard in the back line trying to take on this Trevenant, but we've seen how strong they've been in that top lane. So more troubles for Charizard, more troubles for Mason as well, as they've got a couple just coming off of respawn.
The issue is there's just so much displacement on this team, Hot Sauce. Between the Horn Leech and the Smackdown from the Buzzwole, there's really not much you can do about it. The knockup comes in from the Empoleon, and Cerulege, you got to put on some floaties, buddy. You can't swim in these waters. Gardevoir in the same predicament, but is going to be able to dodge out from danger. Unfortunately, can't evade the goals from coming through. 227 to 56 in favor of Hilltop.
Yeah, I think at this point, you just try to work on leveling up, play a little bit more defensive, try to deny some of these points, and then look to get a team fight to where you could find some big picks again, maybe close to that 2-minute mark when Zapdos is coming up, and see if you can really begin to reverse it, because we did see them take Zapdos in that first one, but Cerulege is not having as much success here in this series.
That Leech Life, Giga Drain, Leech Life, Horn Leech. You're seeing a lot of words be repeated here, and it's because the sustain they gain is just too much to deal with. Petal Dance as well, they can move in, move out, heal, kill, do anything you want. Mewtwo tries to find some snipes from the wall, but Empoleon has spotted them out. I'm sorry, buddy. There's no eagle's nest you can work from here. Instead, it might be the bird of prey, making your day end in a moment. But they are able to get away for at least a bit. Rotom next up on the menu.
Oh, Trevenant again trying to lock down this Rotom, but unfortunately it doesn't go his way this time. Charizard hanging out with no health, not the best of decisions, and you can see why. It's a 2 KO. Rotom opens up. Mewtwo most likely not going to be able to get here in time, and it's another big objective for Hilltop Heritage.
I need to see a rotation from Mason to staunch that flow of blood. You got to deny them from getting that open goal zone, especially with this 2-minute mark approaching. That's going to be double the goal zone points. You cannot allow that objective to open up for easy dunks. Now it's the Mewtwo trying to hold off firm, but the Charizard's also struggling. Both drop down to low, one drop down to 0. Can you stop this threat?
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, and even so, I mean, it's going to happen just around the 2-minute mark, which you said it earlier, double the points, double the fun. 90 immediately eliminates the goal zone. They go up to 371. They've got 3 set on respawn. We see now 4 on respawn, and that will spell trouble. Zapdos is up and easy for the picking.
Yeah, Miraidon says, sorry, but I'm the new age electric legendary. What do you weren't even on the box. You weren't even on the cover art. Who do you think you are? I'm the face of Scarlet and Violet, sucker. And that's going to be an easy pickup there for Hilltop, unless the Mewtwo has something to say about it. But they're looking at the Crawdon instead. Buddy, there's bigger fish to fry as Hilltop grab the shield, grab the objective for all 5 members.
Yeah, honestly, Mewtwo had an opportunity to maybe even just at the cost of their life steal that objective away. Instead, it doesn't go in their favor. Hilltop Heritage will turn that snowball into an avalanche. They pile on the points. They continue the path of destruction, and Mason Middle School at risk of losing this first one. Luckily for them, though, it is a best of 3, so regardless of the outcome, we'll get blessed with at least one more match.
Well, you need all the blessings and prayers you can get if you're that Mewtwo. They're going to be Dunsky as well. Charizard just trying their best to find a spare moment to put up the goal. Venusaur does get their edge clipped a little bit there by the double-bladed demon of Mason MS, that's Ceruledge. Unfortunately, they just weren't able to leverage the same pressure that we expected before. Maybe Hilltop Heritage, honestly, potentially they were watching the game tape, understanding that strategy, and by denying Ceruledge that snowball opportunity, you really denied them all the momentum they wanted. Now it's Hilltop Heritage wandering into that back goal zone with impunity.
Yeah, and only 20 seconds on the clock. This one is all but done and dusted. Hilltop Heritage, that #1 seed. I know they had a couple teams in this as well, but the team of Avernus, that #1 seed here, showing why they're the #1 seed. It's a commanding lead and quite the domination here in the opening one. So they'll get into that driver's seat. They only need one more to claim that trophy and claim that championship title as well.
I mean, we said it before, Hot Sauce. Individual accolades matter a lot. Individual skill matters a lot as a middle school esports athlete. However, it also means that any minor amount of synergy is like completely separating you from a lot of the teams in these leagues. So the fact that we are already seeing that come in here from Hilltop Heritage, it just goes to show why they're the top dogs, why they're the ones to look out for, why they were so far ahead in that first game.
Yeah, they just did so well in the jungle and their rotations as well. I think if we could see maybe a little bit more of that from Ceruledge, some of those rotations toward that top lane to help out even a little bit. But because I think that was the big difference maker that we saw in this one was Ceruledge got off to such a great start that they were able to carry in that one. But yes, Hilltop just did such a great job at limiting him that he wasn't able to make those rotations. We saw that constant pressure in that bottom lane where there was often 3 down there. So I think they felt uncomfortable rotating away from that because there was so much pressure, but it just seemed like they weren't ever really able to turn the tide. So I'm going to be interested to see if they come right back out with the same compositions and the same game plan, or if they do make some minor adjustments here.
3 is an important number for multiple reasons, Hot Sauce. Not only because the amount of players in your lane, but the amount of evolution stages that your Pokemon of choice has. If you decide to pair 2 things together, oftentimes you'll see a strategy of you go with something that evos once or doesn't have any evos. That way it's already kind of an early game monster. And then you pair with something that really needs a lot of farm. You're thinking of, I don't know, a Larvitar, a Garchomp. You're thinking of your Charizards. You're thinking of your Greninjas who need to farm up to reach that end game point to where they can actually scale and do their damage. The issue was, you said 2 members that were starving in lane. You had the Ralts trying to get the Gardevoir, and they were effective when they got to that point, and they weren't effective before. But unfortunately, the cost was your Greninja really did not start to get that engine running for quite some time, whereas Hilltop Heritage, with that Buzzwole paired alongside the Venusaur, seemed to really understand what makes good foundational comp making in Unite.
Yeah, and we will see the exact same composition come out from Hilltop here. And on the other side of things, maybe toying with the idea of a few changes. We will see Buzzwole come out here on the other side. And so maybe making some swaps here for Mason. They're ready to make some adjustments as well. And maybe one that you talked about just a little bit ago in that first series as well.
Yeah, the Zacian coming in is quite interesting here. So that's single Evo. And also we have a Slowbro. I am very grateful to see that be born by one side. They say, man, the Buzzwole sure looks fun, huh? You can't beat him. Beat him on the other side as well, or join him, I suppose, as well, but like really just beat him up, right? Literally a move that Buzzwole uses. And that is a big, muscly bug on each side of the map.
I love it. I love it. Buzzwole coming in on both sides. Slowbro, you talked about. I'm excited to see Slowbro as well. Zacian, now, I will be honest, I'm not as familiar with this Pokemon, so I will let you enlighten me a little bit there as well. Greninja, who did good in that first series, I felt like got off to a slow start in that first game. So I want to see a little bit of a quickened pace from them here in game number 2.
Slow start. You're not a Regigigas, Froakie. Your ability is Torrent, all right? Obey the rules of the game. Yeah, Zacian. Oh, I was about to say, please don't go up top lane. That would be very scary. It is going to instead be in that jungle position, as it should be. That makes a lot more sense. Froakie paired with Slowbro. Love that. Buzzwole paired with Bulbasaur, big fan. They are, in a sense, adopting the strategy of Hilltop with that Venusaur-Buzzwole combination, but why not do it? You saw how effective it was. There is no shame in adopting the strategy of a powerful foe.
Absolutely. I mean, you can learn from anybody out here, and it's great to see these young middle schoolers making those adjustments on the fly, realizing they need some type of change, and so going for it here. But Hilltop Heritage starting up with 3 up top this time, and it is some early trouble again for Mason. The first 12 come in from Hilltop, and already, again, just relentless on this pressure.
I mean, we've seen this strategy before. We've seen this song and dance. It's one of death. One for Froakie at the very least. Slowbro follows up. Where's pushing back a bit too far. A lot of Pokemon Unite is just honestly wait time, waiting for spawns of various camps. Instead, you're waiting to spawn from the Pokemon Center. Zacian's already down.
We always talk about the ebb and flow. You got to be able to get in and get out, especially early, and you don't want to give up early picks. That can really kind of set the tone and pace for those first 4 or 5 minutes, but we've seen a lot of KOs already here in this one. We're only a minute and a half into it as well.
And look how much farm is going to this side because of that bot scrap that just waited before combis and Vespa Queens. You should be fighting over the camps rather than over the goalpost. And unfortunately, I think we're just getting a bit too focused on combat, not enough focused on the bigger picture of the farm. That being said, we do grab a bug for our troubles, take down the Bulbasaur as well. That feels rather good. But I'm curious, are we just going to abandon the top lane for Broke? Hopefully not, because you do really want to see your Froakie pop off early.
The only thing that worries me a little bit is we do see Slowbro still at level 3 as everybody is starting to progress even quicker now. So want to see them getting involved, taking out some of these camps. Unfortunately, kind of just stuck fighting from their own goal here, using those heals. I'm kind of surprised that we don't see more of some help, some assistance coming down there for Slowbro to try and capitalize on this and find a couple picks of their own.
At the very least, Slowbro stays alive beneath their own goal zone, but unfortunately, even with the numbers advantage, the bot lane fight fares poorly as well. So, yeah, I agree. The Zacian really should be making some trips down there, but it seems that all their owners are in the bot lane. This dog's on a short leash.
Yeah, I mean, we saw Slowbro fighting from the goal. You know, Venusaur was up near the opponent's goal zone as well, and so really separated. And Hilltop is isolating these 3v1s, these 3v2s, and taking full advantage of it. So Mason, again, just needs to regroup. They're not out of this yet. There's so much time and so much experience and points to be had here. I mean, we're just now 3 minutes in. Rotom, Dreadnought coming up here as well. So they just need to kind of regroup and lock it in.
Okay, this is actually a really good time for us to win that fight in bot lane because Combees did just respawn. Unfortunately, Slowbo's once again got to spawn right back from the PC. Froakie is just trying to fight them off, but look at that. It's a tiny little toad up against a giant hammer made of oak wood. Who do you think is going to win? The tree definitely takes it.
The tree frog? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, combine the two. Why not?
But Hilltop Heritage, again, we talked about it. They did it so well in game 1. Now here in game 2, it's a similar strategy. It just continues to work for them, and they play very well together. They're good at rotating in and out, who's taking that frontline damage, always having that sustainability as well, and that's something that Mason just hasn't quite been able to match just yet.
Even with the roles changing a little bit with the Empoleon now on the top. Ooh, hold on a sec. Venusaur. That instantly caught my attention, sorry. But did not get the kill, so nothing quite too much to look at just yet. Giga Drain and the Beam is an interesting combination, and it does get really solid damage off. Unfortunately, the lack of cooldowns could cause you a bit of trouble. Tries to get one last bit of drainage off, and actually does manage to finish off the Empoleon in a really solid 1v1.
Oh,
Beam clips the Trevenant as well. Does manage to grab the Rotom too. Fantastic work by Mason. Doesn't result in anything, though, from the comeback. Here comes the Unite move.
Big steal there as well. And honestly, you take a look at the health of Trevenant, it's pretty low. I mean, we know the sustainability is good, and he still finds a kill somehow. This player is a juggernaut. The raid boss eventually will be taken down. Buzzwole on Buzzwole violence leads to a Hilltop Heritage victory, and he continues to slam past the goal zone, fighting out here. But there's that 2KO streak. I mean, we see pick after pick here for Hilltop Heritage.
Leech Life is disgusting. It's getting back like a quarter of Buzzwole's health every single time. He says, give me a hug. I think I'd prefer a high five, if you don't mind. But Buzzwole was not asking. They were demanding. They get another goal zone in, and that's going to be an overcap. No, actually, only 6 points in there. So that's maybe wait for one more kill or so before they can actually break that bottom goal zone. But in the meantime, top, that Rotom, despite the steal, got Bubkiss because of a great rotation from the Miraidon. But now they're back and slamming jamming down at the bottom.
Yeah, again, I just would like to see a little bit more from this Zacian. I know I'm not as familiar with him, but in that jungle lane, it seems like right now, really everybody from this Mason squad just getting out-leveled at this point, which makes it much tougher to get back into this one. So they've got to try and really isolate some of these team fights, use the numbers to their advantage. They might have an opportunity here, and they do. They find the first pick. Can they get this raid boss that has been Trevenant, though?
Big Unite move there, expended to finally finish the job. 3v1, I'm not sure if it was necessary, but I'm sure it felt good. Just some catharsis. Like, die, you stinking tree! And it does indeed finally get them down. But we need to now build up points so we can actually have something to dunk in the goals. And by the time you do, look at that. Empoleon, Miraidon, Trevenant, they're all on the way and ruining your day.
295. Starting to have a few flashbacks from that first map as well, as Avernus Hilltop Heritage Middle School looks to solidify the championship, break out the brooms, and find the sweep. They've been sweeping through that upper bracket here so far, and, well, they look to keep this continuing on. Buzzwole continues to fight Dreadnought down here below. We've seen him kind of solo out this objective almost every time with really nobody challenging him from the Mason side.
Rotom as well being heavily contested here. Greninja tries to put on their best Venusaur impression. Not going to work. This is Hilltop. Do manage to grab that objective, but another steal comes in from Mason. The Rotoms really seem to be in their favor, but the question is, does it really mean much when the Trevenant's here to deny you all the pressure you're supposed to get from it? A Woodhammer quickly and swiftly results in Zacian's end, and they're just going to push this Rotom all the way back to Kingdom Come.
Trevenant is pretty low here as well. We see Greninja coming in, trying to make something happen, but unfortunately, when you jump into a 1v3, there's usually only one thing that happens, and that's you die pretty quickly here. So no value from the Rotom as well. They continue to fight it out, but again, it's pretty spread out fights from Mason, where we see Heritage kind of playing closer together and really using that teamwork aspect.
Okay, great Solar Beam, actually. You do have extended range as CB Dash on this Venusaur with the Beam, rather than the Giga Drain Petal Dance variety, so they actually do manage to live that engagement, as well as some bit of help from some friends that were in the bot lane, too. Unfortunately, up top, things continue to look a bit dour. That top goal zone going to be instantly destroyed. That being said, at the very least, it didn't come before, or rather during that 2-minute mark. Here comes the Venusaur Unite move, though. It's an early time to utilize that just before Zapdos comes up, too. So now Mason, MS have a lot less resources in the tank.
I mean, all of these goal zones are still standing for Hilltop Heritage. Only 30 off the bottom, 32 off the top. I mean, what a great defensive stand here as well as we saw him play in that previous game. Playing even better here in game number 2. They've got the advantage, and now they're looking to take down Zapdos. Can they find the steal here for Mason, though?
No way you could do it. Buzzwole gave it their best shot, but that Miraidon might as well be an electric fly swatter. Greninja just stands and says, take it. Just take it all, why don't you? At this point, victory's been ceded over Mason. They put up a good fight, but Hilltop Heritage, they stand all the way at the mountain's peak.
Yeah, I mean, it was only a best of one through the majority of this, so none of these teams up to this point had lost a single map. Hilltop Heritage will keep that dream alive as they remain undefeated here in the postseason to clinch the championship trophy, that first spot, the bragging rights as well. A job well done here, but honestly, regardless of what team you're from, you should hold your head high. These middle schoolers put on an absolute cinema for us here tonight, and it certainly was a fun one. Not only to get to watch, but to get the cast with you, D-Lo.
Of course, man. I feel the exact same way. I like how Greninja there in front of their friends was like, oh yeah, guys, I'm fighting now, as if we saw you, buddy. We saw you give over the keys to the ship,
Nothing
all right?
Nothing to see here.
Guys, I swear I'm trying. Understandable. 677 to 62, but Greninja, we got our eyes on you, buddy. You're lucky that we can't see individual usernames, or we'd be coming for you.
I was fighting the whole time. I swear, guys.
Guys,
Screen
I
was
swear.
frozen.
Yeah, we got another connection issue. There's the surrender coming through, recognizing that at this point, it's really only going to be further bloodshed. For what cause? For what reason? Enough of the killing, enough of the blood. Hilltop Heritage, after a ceasefire call in there from our friends on Mason, they will take the finals.
I mean, Mason did great in Rocket League yesterday. They did great here today in Pokemon. They do only get to second place, but I mean, second place is in the top two, and it's, I think, again, something you hold your head high for. So hopefully they had as much fun as we had here just casting alone. It was a lot of fun watching the wonderful young talent that we have over here at WSSEA. And again, I mean, in so many different titles, you and I have casted some Petrio, some Pokemon, a little bit of everything. So it's great to see these young students getting an opportunity to get into that competitive scene a little bit, work on team communication skills and various things like that.
How many times will we say at Hot Sauce, we wish there was something like this when we were youngsters, and just not the case, you know? Gosh darn, we just had rocks and sticks, don't you know? But there's one reason we're able to do this, Hot Sauce, and that's our amazing sponsor, LandFest. This broadcast is part of LandFest's Scholastic Esports program, actually, and it's a program that supports leagues across Indiana as well as Washington. And since launching, it's been delivering over 300 broadcasts to Scholastic leagues in those states. We provide these broadcasts free of charge to the leagues, schools, and teams that we cover. Your generous donations are what make that possible, though. Every $200 raised covers the operating costs for one regular season broadcast. If you appreciate that work that we do here, scan the QR code on the screen and donate today. Open your hearts and maybe, just maybe, open your pocketbooks too.
Now, we certainly appreciate everyone that was hanging out with us today and those who are able to donate for such a wonderful cause, getting, again, to showcase and highlight all the wonderful talent we have here across the many high schools and middle schools of WSSEA. But, man, what a fun day. Again, we talked about it before, but getting to cast some Pokemon Unite this season, it wasn't necessarily on the cards, but it's a game that I play for fun on my own time. So, again, it was an absolute pleasure to be in the booth with you, and hopefully everybody had as much fun as, even half as much fun as we had here today.
If you have half as much fun as us, then honestly you're still having a pretty gosh darn good time if you ask this fella. But if you also ask this fella, that is going to be all, unfortunately, we have for you. No more games left. I've been D-Lo. Joined here in the booth by Hot Sauce, we've had our almighty eyes in the sky, Connie on the console, as well as Taylor. Please thank our amazing production for all they do. We could not yell at games without them. Thank you, loyal, obedient viewer, for your time as well. We hope you enjoyed this series half as much as we did. Keep an eye to the sky for more WSSEA action, and until next time, good games and good night.